Today, a 22-year-old man said nothing when his life was placed in the hands of a jury in South Carolina. Dylan Roof killed 9 people at a prayer service in South Carolina in racist cold blood. His defense? He said he doesn't have one and has no regrets. A jury will now decide if he should die for what he did. Last Friday, 26-year-old Iraq War veteran Esteban Santiago opened fire as well, killing 5 people at a Florida airport baggage claim. He might die for that decision. So it brings us to start talking about the death penalty right here, right now, tonight. Should killers who may be mentally ill face that death penalty? Dylan Roof has been called evil incarnate, a true monster, a person not worthy of life. But he has been absolutely consistent in his trial that he's not mentally ill. He's not letting that be up for debate. I started my talk with Mark Osler, an expert on the death penalty, asking him why in the hell Roof would do that.
That's not uncommon. If you're living within a world of delusion, you believe your delusions.
Even though someone has to have told him his life's at stake.
Yes, I'm sure he's been told that many times, and he may or may not be aware of that.
Let's shift to Esteban Santiago. Obviously months from a trial, if there is one, but if there is one, he could face death as well. We're learning that he's an Iraq War veteran whose family said he struggled with visions and hearing voices since he came back from war. We heard, too, that he went to the FBI in Alaska 2 months ago saying he had terroristic thoughts and that he thought he was being controlled by U.S. intelligence. If those things are true, is Esteban Santiago fit for a trial to decide his life or death?
It's a moral debate. And the moral debates, the debates about morality that are rooted in different morality, are the ones that often are the fiercest and the most important.
So that's the big question for all of us. How could we rationalize killing either of these men?
That emotional reaction that we have of this crime is so horrible, the only punishment that fits is death, is one that is very strong within us, that retributive urge to hurt someone.
It completely makes sense. It's hard not to feel that way when we remember what happened at the church in Charleston or at the airport on Friday in Florida.
And we can't have the conversation without an acknowledgement of the deep loss that happens from these incidents. But once we accept that that is part of it, the next step is how do we stop that from happening again?
Especially if either or both of these guys are mentally ill.
Right now, the 2 largest dispensers of psychotropic medications are the jails in Los Angeles and Chicago. That we have replaced treatment with incarceration in too many places. And that is, not only is it a mistake, it's a moral failing of our society.
How do we fix it?
The way to fix it is going to have to be looking at mental illness before a crime occurs.
I want to make something very, very clear. The likelihood of violence from people living with mental illness is low. I do not want to stigmatize that issue any further than it already is, but wanted to open up this conversation about would it even behoove us as a people to execute someone who is not of sound mind. Obviously, the Roof trial ended today. The sentencing phase, it is in the jury's hands as of tomorrow. They will decide his life or death.
Right.
He chose to not have his mental health be a part of that trial. The judge said he wouldn't allow it. If the Santiago thing ever goes to trial, it could be, but it's still too early to tell. I just wanted to start the discussion.
I know it's a horrific thing. I saw a man be executed in Arizona when I worked there, and people feel very differently about the death penalty down there than they do here in states where it's not legal. And it's interesting. And I would think that if mental health did play a role in these murders, that the death penalty would not be on the table. Is that right?
It's possible. I mean, we don't know what Santiago's defense would ever be.
Right.
I mean, we just don't know until we get there.
All right.